Okay, let's face it. If you're running a small or medium-sized business right now, cybersecurity, well, it probably feels less like a tech issue and more like this constant nagging pressure, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You're seeing the headlines constantly.
Yeah, ransomware, shutting down companies, the constant worry about data breaches, and now, AI-powered attacks are even on the horizon.
And you're trying to deal with all that with, let's be honest, probably limited budgets, teams stretched really thin.
Yeah, and people working from everywhere. It's like trying to secure, I don't know, Fort Knox with a Post-it note sometimes.
Especially when so many security tools seem built for huge corporations with, basically unlimited resources. That feeling of being overwhelmed, it's completely understandable.
Yeah.
SMEs are definitely facing the same sophisticated threats as the big guys, but usually without that dedicated security team or the massive budget.
Which creates a real vulnerability.
Exactly. And it's
Yeah.
a vulnerability that cyber criminals are increasingly happy to exploit.
And that's precisely why we wanted to do this deep dive today. We've been looking into some interesting things, especially around Genians. They were just at TechCon in Bloomington, Minnesota.
Right. And they've got the 2025 Cybersecurity Summit coming up in Wellesley, Massachusetts, too, working with partners like CIT and TowerWall.
Yeah, and what really caught our eye is their focus on something practical and, crucially for you listening, affordable ways for SMEs to actually get a much better handle on their cybersecurity.
Mhm.
So our mission today, it's pretty straightforward. Let's really try to understand this approach. Pull out the key insights for SMEs who need stronger defenses, but, can't afford to drown in cost and complexity.
Exactly. And the core idea that just keeps coming up with them is helping SMEs first get a clear picture of what's actually on their networks,
Yeah.
then establish some real control over who gets access.
And ultimately feel more confident about their security.
Right. Build that trust back. And it all starts really with a very fundamental challenge.
Okay, which is what exactly? Lay it out for us.
Well, in short, many SMEs are basically flying blind on their own networks. They have significant blind spots.
How so?
Well, think about how we work now, right?
Yeah.
You've got remote employees, people may be using their own phones or laptops to connect.
Right, the BYOD situation.
Yeah, and then there's always the chance devices are misconfigured or maybe someone plugs something in that IT doesn't even know about, a rogue device.
So you don't know what's actually there?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It creates this situation where visibility is just lost.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. You can't secure what you can't see. I mean, it sounds obvious, right?
It does, but it's critical.
But put yourself in the shoes of, like, a small business owner trying to keep track of company laptops, personal tablets, maybe smart devices, all accessing those systems from who knows where.
Yeah.
That lack of a clear picture, it must be a huge hurdle. It's like trying to fix a leak in your house, but you can't even see half the pipe.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Precisely. And it's not just about, having a list of devices, an inventory.
It's more than that.
Oh, yeah. It's about understanding the context for each one. Like,
Yep.
Is this device following our security rules? What should it actually be allowed to access?
And is it acting normally? Or is something weird happening?
Exactly. Is its behavior consistent, or are there unusual patterns that might, signal a problem brewing?
Okay, and this is where Genians Device Platform Intelligence, or DPI, comes in. Sounds like it's more than just a basic network scan.
It really is. DPI takes that fundamental idea, identifying devices, and then layers on all this crucial information. It intelligently connects different details.
Like what kind of details?
Things like the specific hardware, how the device is talking to other systems, its communication patterns, lots more. It builds this really comprehensive profile for every single endpoint.
Ah, okay. So instead of just seeing like an IP address or a MAC address,
Right.
you get a much richer picture. You know what type of device it is, how it usually behaves, and crucially, if its current activity lines up with what you expect.
Yes. That sounds incredibly useful for answering those questions you mentioned earlier. Is this thing compliant? Should it be accessing sensitive data? Is anything about its behavior setting off alarm bells?
Absolutely. This kind of detailed intelligence, it really provides the foundation for making smarter security decisions. It lets SMEs and maybe the MSPs or MSSPs they work with,
Like with service providers.
it lets them move from just sort of reacting when something bad happens.
Oh, yeah, fires.
Yeah, exactly. To proactively managing their overall security posture, being ahead of the game.
Now, okay, a lot of smaller businesses, they really lean on their firewall, right? That's their main line of defense.
Traditionally, yeah.
But what we're hearing is that just having a strong perimeter, a strong gate, isn't really enough, especially if, something manages to slip past it.
That's such a critical point. Think of the firewall, like, yeah, the main gate to your network. It's vital for controlling what comes in from the outside world.
But once an attacker gets past that gate, maybe through, say, a compromised employee laptop or a
Yes.
successful phishing email,
Something clicks on something they shouldn't have.
right, then the internal network can be surprisingly open, vulnerable, and that's where having multiple layers of security becomes just essential.
And Genians talks about this multi-layered access control operating across layers 2 through 7 of the network stack. For an SME owner listening, what does that actually mean in practice?
Okay, imagine it like having security checkpoints inside your organization, not just at the front door.
Okay.
So instead of just that one main gate, you have controls at different levels.
Yeah.
Down at the network switch level, that's layer 2, controlling who can even plug in physically.
Gotcha.
All the way up to the application level, layer 7, controlling access to specific software or specific data files. Genian's approach is about making decisions in real time.
Real time.
Yeah, about who or what can access the network based on, 1, does the device meet your security standards? Is it compliant? And 2, who is the user? What's their identity?
Right. So it's not just who are you, but also what are you using and is it safe?
Exactly, checking the security health of the device itself.
And this approach, it doesn't necessarily replace things like your next-gen firewall or SIEM systems or EDR.
No, not at all.
It works with them. It adds this crucial control layer right at the access point. So, like, if Genians flags a device as non-compliant, could that info then feed into a SIM for broader analysis, or maybe trigger the EDR on that device to do something?
Exactly right. It strengthens the whole security setup by making sure only trusted, compliant devices are even allowed to talk on the network in the first place. It's a proactive step.
Okay. Now, remote access, another huge headache, right? Everyone needs it, especially now.
Absolutely essential.
But those traditional VPNs, virtual private networks, they can be kind of clunky, and honestly, they have their own security weaknesses too.
They do, and that's where Zero Trust Network Access, ZTNA, is really becoming the modern standard.
Right, ZTNA, we hear that term a lot.
And the core idea is simple. Never trust. Always verify. Instead of giving a user broad access to the whole network once they're connected.
Like a VPN often does.
Yeah. ZTNA gives very specific, very granular access only to the applications and the data that user actually needs for their job right at that moment.
And it checks their identity and the device security constantly.
Every time they try to access something new, it dramatically shrinks the potential attack surface if something does go wrong.
Okay, that makes sense. But here's a challenge we saw mentioned for a lot of SMEs, trying to manage network access control, or NAC, for internal stuff, and then ZTNA for remote access as two separate things.
Yeah, that adds another layer of complexity, right? Another system to manage, another set of policies.
Exactly. Complexity they might not have the staff or expertise to handle effectively.
And that's a key pain point Genians seems to be tackling with what they call universal ZTNA. The idea is basically to bring NEC and ZTNA together under one roof, unified. So the decisions about who gets access doesn't matter if they're in the office or working from a coffee shop. They're based on the same core checks: identity, device security, consistent policies.
And the key insight there, it seems, is that the NAC part, which constantly knows about the device's health.
Right, that persistent device context.
It makes the ZTNA decisions much smarter, less nagging for reauthentication, maybe.
Exactly. It improves security and the user experience.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the holy grail, right? Separate systems often struggle to balance those two.
So it really is about simplifying things, creating one consistent security posture no matter where people are connecting from. Instead of juggling two different systems, two sets of rules, you get one integrated solution. That sounds like a huge relief for already overworked IT teams.
Absolutely. It just streamlines the whole management process, makes the security experience more consistent, and ultimately you get a more robust and user-friendly setup for IT admins and for the actual users trying to do their jobs.
Okay, now, let's talk directly to the SMEs listening right now. The elephant in the room, it's always, okay, this sounds good, but can we actually afford it? And is it going to be a nightmare to set up and manage?
Yeah, the cost and complexity questions.
Our sources suggest Genians is very aware of this, especially for, say, businesses with maybe fewer than 50 employees, right?
Yes, they seem to have structured their offerings with exactly that reality in mind. They use a modular approach. Different editions tailored to meet businesses kind of wherever they are on their security journey.
Okay, let's break those down. There's a basic edition, focused just on getting that comprehensive network visibility.
Right.
That sounds like a really sensible first step for many. No huge initial cost, probably not a massive learning curve.
Exactly. It lets you take that crucial first step, understanding what's actually on your network without getting bogged down immediately in complex controls or facing, big upfront expenses. It's about getting that fundamental awareness first.
Okay, step one, visibility. Then there's a professional edition. This builds on the visibility and adds policy-based access control.
Mm.
So this is where you start actively managing who gets what access based on whether their device meets your security rules.
Yeah, this is where SMEs can really start to enforce their security policies, prevent devices that don't meet the grade or maybe seem risky from getting near sensitive data. It's like actively segmenting your network and controlling traffic based on risk levels.
Got it. And then finally, there's an enterprise edition. This sounds like it's more about integrating and automating more advanced security workflows.
Right. It seems like a natural progression as a company's security needs grow as their understanding of their own risks gets deeper.
So it scales up.
That's the idea behind the model. It's scalable. You can start with the essentials, the building blocks, and then add more advanced features as your needs and, frankly, your security maturity grow.
Without having to rip and replace what you started with.
Exactly. No throwing away your initial investment. And importantly, they offer flexibility in how you deploy it too. You can run it on your own servers, on premises, have it managed in the cloud, or even a fully cloud-based option. So it fits different IT setups.
It's also interesting how they're specifically aiming to help out managed service providers, MSPs, and managed security service providers, MSSPs.
Oh, yeah.
Because those companies are often the main cybersecurity lifeline for many SMEs, aren't they?
Absolutely. And Genians seems to have really designed their platform with MSPs in mind. They talk about things like simple licensing.
Always good for MSPs.
Definitely. And the ability to see and manage security across all their clients from one place, a single pane of glass, plus easier onboarding, policy management, even white labeling options so the MSP can brand it as their own service.
Ah, okay. That makes it a very attractive package for an MSP looking to boost the security services they offer to their own SME customers.
Totally. Becomes a win-win. The MSPs can deliver better, more robust security outcomes.
In a way that's efficient and manageable for them.
Precisely. It empowers MSPs to offer, maybe enterprise-grade protection to smaller businesses without all the usual complexity and operational headaches.
Now, our sources also paint a pretty concerning picture of why this focus on SME security is just so vital right now. The stats are, well, they're worrying.
They really are.
We're talking about a huge percentage of cyber attacks targeting SMBs, the average cost running into the millions, and tragically, something like 60% of small businesses failing within 6 months after a major attack.
It's sobering. We even heard from some listeners, remember, about employees unknowingly bringing malware into the office on personal devices connected to the company Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that lack of visibility we talked about earlier, that really hits home in a scenario like that. You just don't know what's connecting.
Yes, the numbers are stark. A large chunk of small businesses hit by incidents just last year. Projections of global cybercrime damages hitting, $10.5 trillion by 2025? The stakes are incredibly high. For SMEs, the cost of doing nothing, of ignoring this, it's not just money. It can literally threaten their survival.
And it really hammers home the point, doesn't it? Cyber threats are getting more sophisticated for everyone.
Constantly evolving.
But those super complex, super expensive security tools built for giant corporations, they're often just not the right fit for SMEs. There has to be a better way.
There needs to be a more accessible, more affordable path. Our mission was to find practical, affordable ways for SMEs to step up their game. How does that modular approach we discussed help with that?
That seems to be the core of why Genians positions itself as the right partner. They talk about the right solution, that essential visibility, the smart access control, the built-in ZTNA,
Okay.
the right budget, an affordable starting point, but with room to grow, to scale up, and the right time, something that offers value quickly and deploys flexibly to fit what you already have.
Right solution, right budget, right time. Makes sense.
And it's interesting, apparently a lot of their customers find them just through their own research. Searching online or looking at analyst reports, like Gartner Genians is ranked pretty high in the NAC market there. That suggests organic discovery, people finding a solution that fits their needs.
And the fact they offer a free trial and make it sound easy to get started, even for really small businesses like under 50 devices, That speaks volumes about accessibility.
Definitely lowers the barrier to entry. While affordability is key, what about setup? Any hidden costs or ongoing maintenance SMEs should factor in, especially moving between those editions.
That's a fair question. Typically, the basic edition setup is designed to be really straightforward. Mostly software, minimal hardware needed. Ongoing stuff is usually software updates, tweaking policies, often manageable remotely.
Okay.
The higher editions might need more integration work, sure, but they emphasize ease of management across the board. It doesn't sound like a massive burden, especially compared to some enterprise systems.
Good to know.
And it's not just about being easy. When you actually dig into that device platform intelligence, the DPI, there's some serious tech there.
Yeah.
20 years
Well,
of development.
yeah, that's a long time in cybersecurity. A huge network of sensors deployed worldwide, actively building these detailed device profiles based on tons of different characteristics.
Yeah.
You don't build that kind of intelligence overnight.
Exactly. That history, the sheer scale, small businesses up to Fortune 500s, even critical infrastructure sectors, it speaks to the platform's robustness, its reliability.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have proven on-premises EDR technology, right? Endpoint detection and response. Trusted by regulated industries, apparently minimal impact on users, works even offline. That adds another strong layer.
Plus, they offer MDR services, managed detection and response.
Yeah, which is great for organizations that maybe don't have their own in-house security experts watching things 24/7. It provides that extra layer of expert support.
Okay, so the main takeaway then for SMEs listening seems to be, look, you don't have to feel like you're constantly losing this cybersecurity battle.
Right. There's hope.
There are practical, affordable solutions out there. Genians seems to be one, offering a clear path to getting back that crucial visibility, establishing real control over your network, and just, building more confidence in your security.
That's an excellent summary. It really is about empowering SMEs, giving them concrete steps they can take to protect themselves effectively without totally overwhelming their resources or their teams.
And for you, the listener, if this conversation has sparked some interest, we definitely encourage you to check it out further. You can head over to Genians.com.
Take a look at their resources.
Yeah, maybe sign up for that free trial, see how the platform actually looks and feels, or schedule a personalized demo call to see how it might fit your specific business.
And if you happen to be near Bloomington for TechCon
Mm-hmm.
or Wellesley for the Cybersecurity Summit,
Sounds like a great chance to talk to their team directly.
absolutely. In this landscape, taking those proactive steps is really the most important thing you can do.
Definitely. And on that note, here's a final thought for you to mull over. As cyber threats just keep getting smarter, more pervasive, how critical will it become to have a foundational, truly detailed understanding of every single thing operating on your network? Could that become the absolute bedrock of any effective security strategy going forward?